Okay, everybody, I'm here to help you and show you how to heal your grandmother or whoever, like I was able to help heal my grandmother. Um, anyway, I'm showing you the product items that I had to buy right now. That's Johnson & Johnson pads, gauze pads. Anyway, I'll give some close-ups here. But basically, I'm going to show you how to treat a wound, a bed sore wound, or also called an ulcer. And that's medical paper tape there that you put in. You need Dial soap, Emu Aid, which you can find on Amazon. And I'm showing you the box and everything, but it's the first aid ointment cream. As you can see there, you can find that on Amazon. And let's see right there. And you have to use it properly. Basically, I don't use it exactly as the directions point out, but you'll see when we do it, when I show you. You'll need all these items. You need ionized salt, and you need a bucket about 1 foot by 1 foot, or 1.5 foot by 1.5 foot, something like that. And of course you'll need Epsom salt. And what you want to do is use 2 handfuls of Epsom salt, put it into your bucket. Like so. And this way works. Like I said, and then you want to use just regular salt, Morton salt, whatever you have. And you want to use 2 nice sized palmfuls. Put it in there. And again, this treats bed sores and nasty bed sore wounds and ulcers and such like that. Bed sore ulcers. And on the butt area, I had to treat my grandmother, and it took me a long time to learn this method, but it really helps with the Emu Aid cream. I only put it on 2 times a day. It's very important. That you use the Epsom salt and the salt. I figured the Epsom salt will draw out the toxins in the wound and help also bring blood to the area. And I showed you the kettle there because you need to fill up hot water as hot as the patient can tolerate. I always use almost boiling water, and then I let it cool a little bit, and then I put it in the bucket and let it, just like I said, cool a little bit, and then as much as my grandmother could tolerate, that's what I did. And you fill the water level about, say, 6 inches up from the bottom or something like that, and you mix it up with like a wooden spoon, wooden cooking spoon. There you go, like that, like I'm showing you there. And what you want to do is, first off, use the Dial soap. Actually, when I was doing it, I believe that I soaked her first. Okay, but you'll need Dial soap. That's exactly what I did. Well, if there's any like problems on the area, like urine, bad urine, or I wouldn't worry about that. But if there's like happens to be feces on there or something like that, then I would wash it off, and then I would wash it again that later. But what you want to do is soak it, and took us about And again, I soaked it anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. And okay, you want to use a towel, and you're going to have to use a lot of towels underneath your butt. But anyways, 20 to 30 minutes soak her, or until the water becomes lukewarm. After that, you want to wash her with the Dow soap. Okay, and to make sure that you kill any bacteria in the wound is very important to keep the wound clean and sanitary. Okay, and next, after that, once you've done that, you want to put the Emu A cream on, and you got to be careful about how much you want to use there. It doesn't really need all that much. Don't suffocate the wound with the cream. That's a mistake in the beginning that I made. You want to put on enough, but not enough to suffocate the wound. And you want to use at least 2 of those God pads. Sometimes 1, and when the patient heals, it's even best to use 3 to protect the area. But when the wound is healing, it's important to get the wound oxygen to be able to heal. So sometimes you use 2, sometimes you use 1. You got to kind of play it by ear, or play it by visual, to see how the wound is doing. If it looks like it's getting a little worse, then respond a certain way. Try either 1 or 2, depending on what it wants. But the 3-step method is to soak it with a nice pad, towel, and then with Epsom salt and salt. Secondly, to wash it thoroughly. Wash it way better than you would using your own hands and go in the bathroom. And then thirdly, put cream on it. And make sure your hands are clean throughout the process. Now here, I'm using a boppy pillow, which is called a breastfeeding pillow. It's also known, aka, as a boppy pillow. You can buy that on Amazon also. And I use this. This is also a lifesaver that helps prevent my grandmother from getting wounds. And you just prop her up on that. Let her just put her as much to the end as possible, but then slide her down just a bit to kind of let her butt sag a little bit into the horseshoe open area. But then again, it's important to treat these wounds. Very important to keep the wound dry as much as possible, because that's how our wound for my grandmother started. We let the wound get too wet, and then what happened was the urine is what I believe eats away the skin, and then once it eats away the skin and softens up the skin, it can make the skin the wound start, and it gets infected. And that's exactly what happened to my grandmother. Her wound got infected, and it was very nasty, vicious wound. And I'm going to show some pictures eventually here. I might post it or put it in this video. But you want to use those pads and change it at least 3 times a day. And I would, if your family member has a wound, I would use this method twice a day. It usually takes about an hour in the treatment process. Like I said, you soak it for 20 to 30 minutes. Then you, after that, make sure your hands are thoroughly washed, especially with an open wound, and then lather your hands and wash the wound. After that, you wash your hands again, and make sure when you dip your hand in the Emu A jar, you're going to have sanitary hands. Make sure you really are sanitary. It takes about an hour to do all this the right way. Then you put the Emu A on. Then you use 1 to 2 of those pads, maybe even 3 when the wound is healed, to protect it from getting worse. And also, it's very, 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 very important to put her on the boppy pillow, because the wound is not going to heal if you just let it keep sitting on it, laying down in bed. You have to keep the person off of the wound in order to heal. It's just common logic to know that. It just makes sense. So the wound needs oxygen, it needs the cream, it needs to be soaked with the Epsom salt, draw out the toxins, and initiate blood in the area. And then what you do is make sure that the patient uses a boppy pillow to allow the wound to not be aggravated. The wound needs to be free from aggravation at least as much as possible with that boppy pillow. And I was showing you there a quilt, and now I'm off to showing you pee pads or urine pads, and I would keep that underneath to protect your bedding. And it helps also sliding the patient around, like my grandmother, who I took care of. And again, my grandmother's wound was a terrible, terrible wound, and I thought there was no hope in healing it. And this is a homemade method that